So, Nasom, I hear that if you walk into a restaurant and you have a reservation, you could walk in, and if they overbooked it, you could just go and drag someone out of the seat and get your seat.
Is this restaurant owned by United Air?
It might be.
Then yeah, that's pretty much how things work.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the B Plus podcast. Today we are going a little different. I saw a lot of controversy going on with United Airlines, so I brought the boys together. We all came together here to discuss our thoughts on it. So, who wants to start? Want me to start?
I have a quick request.
Go ahead.
Don't call me Nasom this podcast. Call me Crystal Pepper.
Okay, CP.
Okay. Crystal Pepper. That's my picture.
Oh,
You'll figure it
All
out later.
you wanna,
Who wants to say what happened? Or you know what? Do we even need to at this point?
I don't think we need to say what happened.
Yeah, it's on the internet.
Flight was overbooked.
Totally.
Hold on, let me check the internet. www.youtube.com. There.
Yeah.
Employees wanted to, or they needed employees to get to the destination they were going, and they overbooked the flight. They needed the employees to go, or they couldn't take off, supposedly. So they started offering people money to,
And everyone's like, I don't want that.
and everyone's, which I would have taken the money.
I'm like, fuck
And
that. I want to
everyone-
get where I gotta go.
Right. Well, this is where I'll start then, because I did write a blog post about this, which is going to be going up later. But a couple of the things I touched on, this was one of them, was I would personally probably just take the money if they randomly asked me. Then they did a random thing. 4 people were chosen. A couple got off. And then I don't know exactly what happened before the video we saw, but what we did see was that the cops came in and
Go the cops.
and drug this guy out, and the guy hit his face off the armrest and was bleeding pretty bad for something that probably shouldn't have happened.
The passengers were offered $400 in a hotel stay to give up their seats to stand by while United employees heading to Louisville for a flight. A fellow traveler said that this was said by someone there. So when no one volunteered, they offered it to increase to 800. Nice.
Right.
It's like watching the Pawn Stars. You know what I mean? How about $400?
Right.
Nope. How about 8?
Here's my first point, and you guys could riff on this or tell me what you think. So before we get further into that, my first point is that, like I said, if it was me and they're like, here's $800, here's $1,000, and I didn't have anything to do, I'd probably take it. But here's the thing. Everybody's different. Everybody's moral, I don't know if he was called morals, but everybody's outlook is different. Some people say they'll, I don't know,
Take the money.
do something disgusting for $1 million. Other people say they wouldn't. Like they're like,
You
there's
wanna-
no amount of money that I would do that for.
Do you want to quantify disgusting, or are we just going to leave that there?
No,
Hey, that's another podcast right
I
there.
don't know.
but I'm just saying. So like, people don't care. I mean, if this guy, when he was back on the plane, started saying, I need to go home. I need to go home. And so was it really, I mean, they have to understand, like I said, that other people, like people don't have the outlook like that. They're probably sitting there talking shit. I mean, I don't know, but they're probably sitting there saying, can you believe this? Like, people aren't moving, people aren't budging.
I think when they realized the no volunteers were volunteering for the 400, and then they threw out the 800, and people were still like, is it worth 800 versus me having to get where I gotta be? And they're like, all right, well, we don't got volunteers. We don't have the numbers we need. They used the computerized random, kind of like a random system, and they had to tell the 4 people or whatever amount of people that they had to get up and go. And everyone complied except for David Dow. And people I mean, certain articles and from what certain people are saying, and even his own attorney, they're starting to say he's kind of a hero. He stood up to the airline. He was just saying, well, I'm not going. I'm sorry. This is just, I have a place to be. My family's there. My job's there.
Right.
It's not worth my $400 in a hotel stay. So he stood up to them. He did.
And that's the thing, if I was coming off a 5-day or 7-day bender, like overseas or on vacation or something, and I just want to get the hell home, then 800, it would be more than $800 to get me off that plane if I just wanted to get home that night. If you were away for 7 days doing on vacation and partying or whatever you were doing, and you just wanted to get home that day. So I understand that aspect of it.
Tell me more about the 5-day bender overseas. What's that like?
It's fun. It's fun.
So you mean to tell me when there's no volunteers, they're like 400, anyone, Fry, like 800, anyone, Bueller. You'd raise your hand, you'd be like, if you're going to keep going up, we can negotiate separately, but we can definitely do this once you hit the right mark. Just come meet me in my office where's your office in the airplane? Not the cockpit, the bathroom?
Yeah. Well, my second point was that I wanted to say, like, how, like, this is how I want to say it. The people, like, where I do business, like, the customer's always right. Where in the fuck do you get the audacity to put hands on someone? Now, was he resisting? Like, I can't see everything. I didn't read a bunch of articles about this, but do you drag someone off? I mean, the guy didn't do anything criminal. He wasn't. He could have been making a scene, but do you drag people? I don't know. I'm just curious on your guys' thoughts.
Well, in an email to his employees on Monday, the United Airlines CEO faulted Dow for being "quote unquote" disruptive and belligerent. How about that one? How do you like them apples, huh?
I didn't see it. I mean, if you've seen pictures of the guy, he doesn't look like someone who's destructive or belligerent, especially in a public place. I mean, I don't know. That's just my brief observation of him, I guess.
When we had the same CDO, I keep calling him Mark Munoz, but his name's Oscar Munoz. So if I make the mistake, you'll understand. He was on CNBC, and he gave a pretty well thought out apology. He basically was saying it's the system failure and that they have to put things in place so people can use common sense. But I just thought when I was watching the interview that when he was asked a very specific question, is like, is this his fault? Is this David's fault? And he paused for so long. And I'm just like, wait a minute. Are you actually going to consider other options, but not come to your senses after you just talked about common sense and say, of course not? And he did say the right thing, but it took honestly, maybe each second that went by, I was just like, oh my God, what are you doing, Mark Munoz?
Well, that's the thing too, is, the only gray area here that matters to me is what actually happened before that video was taken. So everything that I'm saying is, just of what I personally saw. But it's on United. So you stop the person at the gate. You don't put the transaction through and then have them board and then sit and then say, you know what, we fucked up, get out.
Well, obviously, there was no time to do that. They got themselves in the predicament where, we have to add these people. We're not going to make it. Well, let's ask for volunteers. 400, 800. Use the computer system. Make it random so it's fair. How is it fair if it's random? I don't know. Anyway, they ended up in the predicament they were. And poor choice after poor choice, they ended up with something that went very viral, very, very fast. And David Dow over here is looking at a really sweet settlement. I mean, I'm gonna put this on the record right here. If this had not been filmed, they'd be settling with him, but they'd be settling for a lot less. I'm talking. This is millions. Yeah. This is a big deal. They don't want this going to trial. What, we're going to do this again over and over again in the public's eye, in the limelight? This airline already had enough problems, going into this. Before this happened, this is the perfect shitstorm. There was boycotts. People were selling stocks. They're tearing up their frequent flyer cards. They made 2 teens change their clothes before a flight because there was a dress code, because it was a discounted type of flight from people someone that works for the company. One man named Jeff Burns was threatened to be handcuffed if he didn't give up his first class seat for somebody that's more of a bigger deal so that he can move to economy class. And then I said, United? It comes, this is all United. It all comes to this perfect storm of bad publicity for them, for their airline. And then this happens. So they got it's going to get a lot worse before it gets a lot better for them. This just feeds into people's general hatred for flying. It's just an unpleasant thing to have to do. I mean, Pat, you were just flying the other day. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So I went, I had a conference and I had to fly from a small airport to Atlanta,
Airport.
or I had to fly, from a small airport, to Atlanta, and then from Atlanta to Tennessee. And wouldn't you know it, on my way home, I'd been gone for about 4 or 5 days. The plane coming in to take me to Atlanta, which from Atlanta back to that small airport, it was hit by lightning on the way in.
Oh shit!
So terrible luck. But when that happens, of course, they have safety procedures in place. So they actually spent 3 hours. We were delayed 3 hours from our original departure time to get to Atlanta. Now, while this is going on, I have to re-coordinate all my transfer flights and all this stuff, and I was just barely able to do it, but it all hinged on a lot of very small things all working out. Thankfully it did, but I mean, just the frustration you get when you're told that you don't get to go home. I could remember just from the video, the guy that happened to the gentleman with the United flight, he's just saying, I gotta get home. It's so relatable if you've been in that situation. It's just so, they couldn't have handled it worse. These are just, I think it's easy to forget and kind of detach when you're detached from the situation, how especially if you've been away from your where you live and where you're comfortable for a long time, how primal you feel. Because even me, for just I just had 2 flights I had to do, but there's just this crazy sense of urgency where the poor guy panics. So the CEO can claim that the dude was belligerent, but can you really blame him? You would think that people who work, professionals who work in an airport environment, would be able to say, we understand, we see all these frustrations all the time, and because of that, we're not going to mess you up royally as we get you off this plane. I don't know, but it's just,
that's.
I mean, I've been on connecting flights, and I've been stuck where I have to. You ever been stuck when you're trying to what's it taxi up to the airport, and 2 hours go by, 3 hours, and you're sitting on an airplane. It's hot. It's it's not very comfortable.
It's stressful enough.
It's awful.
That's the thing, though, is where was the thing? If just saying that in that that he's belligerent.
Munoz saying that? Jeez, that was Munoz trying to cover his ass.
But where is it? We've seen people get taken off of planes, physically taken off when they literally were belligerent.
Right.
So where's the line drawn? Is the line drawn because of United? Are the cops just doing their job?
Well, Munoz quickly said that we have to make sure that we have things in place for people to use common sense. So he's already saying, in essence, the right hand doesn't know what the left is doing, or vice versa. We're not responsible for what happened here. These people should have known what to do. It's a lot of backpedaling, and I guess that's the only direction he can pedal in. I mean, look at the climate for this situation right here. What the additional component here that a lot of people seem to be missing, because I did a couple quick interviews. I'm like, did you hear about that thing on with the flight? What do you think about that? Just today with whoever I might have passed. Most people just did not understand that it's not United Airlines security that ripped them off the airplane. It was the police.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're suspending 2 or 3, and every report says the number 2 or just the number 3, but never both, or it's not lining up. 2 or 3 officers are pending further. There are
well, yeah, it's always that's the always go-to.
Yeah, there's people on
investigation.
Yeah.
It's nice to be a police.
No one knows if it's 2 or 3, but it's always they're going to be suspended until this is investigated. And I guess it would be the Chicago police that did that. So the one thing that they're placing a lot of blame, United, look what they did. I'm like, well, United got themselves in a pretty shitty situation, and Chicago police kind of made it a lot worse.
The thing about that is that apparently, when I don't know when it was, but when I was reading that they sent it out to United, and United sent it to the police, the local police. Then the police sent it to the aviation. No one wanted to handle it.
It's like a hot potato, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, so we have to rip someone out the plane. You do it. No, you do it. No, you do it. But eventually, it's going to be someone's job to do it. And then, policemen deal with things a different way than I guess security at an airline would have to deal with. They're policemen. They see a lot more shit than someone's going to have to see. I mean, this could vary a lot, and maybe this is me guessing at best, but it depends on who's actually in the position to make that split decision right then and there. And whatever went down, the 2 and or 3 guys that were there decided that, well, we're going to remove you by force. And then, it got filmed via whatever, the people's smartphones. And now there's this media shitstorm.
Yeah, but they might have just been doing, what they thought was best. I don't know if it's totally their fault. I mean, this is to me, like I said, is more about just United handling it wrong and getting it to that point where they have to call the cops. Like I said, like it was for employees. Now I don't know what the reason was for them to go to be.
From what I heard, it wasn't even their employees. Was it a partner airline or something like that?
It doesn't matter. Get in a car and drive if it's that bad. Like I don't know what else to say.
I was a little shocked to find out that it's not directly their employees either. And I'm like, really? They don't directly work for you, but you're gonna okay, whatever. Hey, you guys know what you're doing, but obviously they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, this is probably the shittiest analogy I ever have done, but like if I'm selling a sandwich and they're like, and I'm ready to take lunch, and then like it's the last one, and I'm like, you know what? You ordered that, but it's my lunch in like 5 minutes, so too bad,
So you don't want to sell it to them, or you're going to eat the sandwich?
I'm going to eat it.
Is there yoga mats in that sandwich?
First, you're gonna beat them up, and then you're gonna eat it.
Yeah,
like don't forget the
sandwich.
Yeah.
First,
beating will be given.
Just the counter, beat him up, drag him out.
Yeah,
I can eat my
and
sandwich.
then while he's outside still.
Yeah.
You eat the sandwich with them there? Is he unconscious?
All right. Any other things to add?
His lawyers are asking for the flight data to be preserved, which equates to like a warning or maybe a threat that these sorts of things, this type of data, whether it be whatever medium you want, they're not going to go away or be destroyed. So that's going to set up to settle. And if United has any brains, which they're going to at this point, they're going to want to settle and not let this go to trial. No way. Like I said earlier, this would have been X amount of money, but now that it's this at this level of like has this much publicity, it's going to be a lot of money, and he'll probably take it because I don't see anyone that wouldn't. It's very bad for business for them to continue to like let this be brought like dragged back into the limelight over and over. I think that's it. I mean,
are you going to fly United ever?
Me?
Yeah, you were going to.
I don't know. I rarely have to fly. When I remember doing it, I remember not liking it.
Would you book with United?
I wouldn't. I'll say that.
I mean, but you gotta think about it. After all this stuff went on, and then it ended in this, and like they only have anywhere to go but up. It's not going to get any worse. They're going to put a lot of things in place so stuff like this never happens again. I mean, this would fill people to boycott them. People were already boycotting them before this happened, and
yeah.
Like if it can, like if I said before, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets a lot better. It's still going to get better. I mean, a lot of other, I guess I can see or imagine other airlines will be like, well, we do this and we do that, and look at us, and our shit don't smell. Like, there's going to be some of that going on, but it's definitely you're not going to. If this stuff isn't going to multiply, it's not the accelerant, the gas on the fire to make it worse. I think that for their public image, yeah, but as far as them not having to do something, like, yeah, they're going to have to put a lot more things in place to make a lot of people more happy with this experience or the way they view them. It's complicated, but it's not going to simply get worse in a way.
Right.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the media in general has such a short memory with this stuff, and people, you know what I mean? Like, we're constantly bombarded every day with a news story, so there's always something outrageous going on now that we have. Yeah. There's smartphones recording pretty much everything that goes on. So,
but there's also misinformation too. That's the one
absolutely.
Like you always have to watch out for it. You guys remember the case? And this is real quick. You remember the woman, the elderly woman who got the hot coffee at McDonald's? What happened? Just someone tell me.
Well, they settled, but I don't remember the specific details. That was like one of the first. Wasn't that like one of the they point to that as like one of the first class action law, not class action, but like one of the person versus company thing that kind of, I don't know. Yeah.
That's
about all I can remember. So if that's the point you're trying to get, then you're good.
Just wanted money for her medical bills because she had like 3rd-degree burns. It was pretty bad. Mm-hmm. And her son drove her there. It spilled on her. It burned her really, really bad. It turns out that they had heated their coffee up so super high that it would leave horrible burns like this. And other people complained. They tried to offer her $400 so she would go away. She wouldn't. And then eventually she settled for a lot more. But to not tarnish McDonald's name in the public eye, they did like this huge anti-campaign with their own lawyers, and like advertisements and like just placing things in the right spot. Like you can remember her as like this greedy old lady that was a villain. Like she really wasn't. She had the right of way, and it was. But some people look back on it, and with the right misinformation in the right places, it turns into be this whole other thing. Now, being that this is so fresh, that can't happen here, and I don't think that's in any of their best interest to do something like that. But you got to watch out, man. Stuff like this gets out of control, and bigger corporations and like McDonald's themselves or these places that have money and these huge teams, power lawyers, they're not messing around.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
And that's what I'll end on too, is just saying, I don't understand how people aren't more aware that someone somewhere is filming, like especially in that, like if a fight broke out in a public place with me and someone, like that'd be the first thing on my mind. Like if I get knocked out here, then this is gonna go on World Star or something.
I don't know. Chicago police thought of it that way. Maybe they thought they were just doing their jobs. I mean, when everything's so sensitive when it comes to security and in a post 9/11 world, like it changes like the way everyone thinks, right?
Yeah, because I don't have enough context to say, oh, the cops were wrong. Like I don't have enough context. I just got it where it was. I don't know what happened before that camera started, if he was belligerent or wasn't belligerent. But like I said, the problem.
I doubt he was. I doubt he was just trying to hold his own ground, and he did.
Right. He was probably just, I want to be here, or I want to stay. Like pick someone else, or get away from me. So, like I said, I mean, it's at United's fault. But yeah, that's where I can end. So
he's like, I'm not going. That's what he said. And he meant it. He wasn't going, and he wasn't going to go.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. All right. As always, this is brought to you by SeftimorLive.com. If you like this podcast, please give us a thumbs up. Hit it, Nathan. And
you gotta smash that thumbs up. You gotta blast it.
Smash and like.
Hit the subscribe button so you always get updates on our new podcasts. And take care.
See ya.
Crystal Pepper.